he had a great career. He's a great career Hall of Famer. So,
Overrated, but great career. Look, the reason why I say he's overrated is because a lot of those stats that he broke, they happen in a dome. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend like it's apples to apples.
Asterisk Sonny and Mono right here. Putting an asterisk on everything, man. You have to break these stats on a field.
Here's the thing.
Outdoor.
Here's the thing about sports fandom, right? Is that a lot of fans have revisionist history. Like you just look at the end result, right, without dissecting the game. Are we talking about practice? Or are we talking, what are we talking about here? For those of us who have been paying attention and are avid fans, it's like you got to pay attention to the details.
Thank you for downloading and listening to West Box Score. I'm Alex Gonzalez. Thank you for downloading on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts downloaded to you. We are co-branded with Blue Wire Hustle, at Blue Wire Hustle on Twitter, and also at West Box Score. Donald and myself are there. Donald the Bot, welcome back, dude.
Hey, welcome. Happy 2021.
Happy 2021 to you, man. And of course, the host with the most, the podcast champion of the year, 2020, 2021, ongoing, looking to go back-to-back from the Fox Crate podcast, Sonny Amano. What's up, dude?
What's up, senor? Yeah, I appreciate your energy here, all things considered, with what transpired this weekend.
It is to be expected that the Los Angeles Rams did not go for the trifecta, the LA trifecta that we were all hoping, and it's mainly to help the branding that's already out there. Dos Angeles, the two champions for LA and for the Dodgers and for the Lakers. It was perfect already. Tres Angeles doesn't really work doesn't roll off the tongue the way three championships would work, so it makes sense. The LA Rams did all the t-shirt printing manufacturers a favor out there.
Hey, as Snoop Dogg would say, keep it a thou wow, first of all.
What now?
A thou wow. Keep it a thou wow, okay. 1,000. LAFC had the first chance to make it Tres Angeles.
That is true.
And now Rams had the chance to make it, Tres Angeles. And both, mind you, failed. So,
I mean, we all failed, man. We all failed. But it's okay, man, because it's as you're listening to this, it's MLK Day on your podcast feeds if you get it as soon as it comes out. So we got to take a moment to recognize the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and just know that the country is in a we're freaking crazy place right now. I mean, you got Inauguration Day coming up in a couple of days, depending on when you're listening to this, or may have happened already. But it's nuts, man. Just kind of take a lesson from his teachings. We're all people. Try to be accepting of all colors and races and backgrounds. So you kind of hope you hear those words right now and they hit home as individuals, as we all are, and just, embrace your fellow man today. Because the media and social media is not the place where you're going to see a lot of that. But us as individuals on the streets, as you're listening to this podcast, I hope you are listening to this with earbuds or maybe on speakers with somebody else, and just know that we're all in this together. We're all people. We're all on this big giant rock spinning through space together. So, I mean, let's not fight. Let's love one another while we're here in the short time that we are here, right? So I want to say, I love my guy, Sonny Amano. I love my guy, Donald the Bot over there. So let's just as long as we're here, let's have a love fest, right?
I agree.
A good positive.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Sports love fest, because sports, we're gonna be tribal, and we don't like your team, we don't like that team. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're enjoying the sport, right? We're enjoying the sport of American football, and the NFL Los Angeles Rams, as Sonny alluded to earlier, did not fare so well on their weekend divisional round playoff game. And it was to be somewhat expected because they were in Green Bay. I mean, you had Aaron Rodgers having a career year at 37 years old.
Yeah,
I mean, that's when you're hitting your prime, right? As somebody who's also in my late 30s, I would say, yes, that's when you're hitting your prime. Sure, why not? So, I mean, dang, Donald, what were some of your takeaways from this Rams-Packers divisional matchup? What did you, I'm sure you checked it out, so what did you think about it?
Man, I felt for the Rams a little bit just because they had really good momentum coming out of that Seattle win. Was not expected, obviously, for them to advance from Seattle, I think. So definitely was surprising. But man, it's crazy to see that the Rams did whatever they could. Obviously, the whole quarterback situation, it was not good. So for me, it just felt like from the get go, I did not realize, like, I guess I never paid attention to Green Bay or Aaron Rodgers, so I never realized like how good he was this season in terms of like how on it they were. And I mean, credit to Green Bay. I mean, I think the Rams did whatever they could to stop, Devontae Adams, but what's his name? Lazard, he came up big, and that was, I think, somebody that they weren't really fully prepared for. So man, what do you do when Green Bay has all these extra weapons that weren't really like highlights in the whole season, but were there when you needed them, and they came through? And it was tough to see that from the Rams side, just seeing them try to figure out and try to pull something off, and then offensively, it just didn't look like there was a lot of stuff happening, and they looked like they were a little depleted, just in terms of with Goff and stuff. I think he got sacked a couple times. So,
Sonny, what were some of your thoughts from this game?
Man, my first thought was, God damn it, I didn't finalize what our bet was.
We did not agree to terms.
I told Donald that I'd give him the 7 points.
I was thinking that too.
And my first regret,
there was a lot more than 7
score,
points.
I was like, oh yes. Man. I was like, I won, cashed in, baby. I was like, wait, I didn't fucking tell Donald what we were betting. Or Alex. So that was my first takeaway, is that I lamented, not
our terms of the wager.
Correct. But outside of that, man, I mean, sadly, it's kind of what I expected to happen in this game.
Yeah.
Again, unfortunately, you guys, just like Donald already talked about, your quarterback situation was just one that I didn't see your defense overcoming, especially against a potent offense like the Packers. So I think it just played out the way that I do think the better team won, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and I say that, and yet I don't think that the Packers are going to the Super Bowl, but that's for another conversation.
That's interesting. and that's, I mean, obviously I wonder what would have happened had the injury bug had not riddled the Rams right before this game. Like a healthy Cooper Kupp could have played a difference offensively. The Rams only put up 18 points. They could have put up maybe a little bit more. And a healthy Aaron Donald without his rib injury. I mean, dude was playing with rib cartilage issues, man. Like, come on. Like, how do you expect him to play well? Like, you just knew that wasn't going to happen. And would the Packers really have put up 32 points the way they did? I mean, who knows? I'm not making excuses for them, because I do agree with you. The better team did win, but I feel like it would have been a lot closer and potentially could have swung the other way. We'll never know. Because injuries got a hold of them. And I mean, this Rams team, far and away, I feel, was just their MO of consistent inconsistency. And I mean, let's see what happens next year, because we'll be short a defensive coordinator there, huh, Donald the Bot?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got some Chargers breaking news.
Breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. Maybe we'll insert a news thing.
Fuck any Sports Center one. We got to come up with our own breaking news chime.
Oh, yeah. Though I do like the Fox one. That's always like one that I love hearing every time it pops in.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
Donald the Bot needs his own stinger.
Yeah,
man.
Donald the Bot Glazer.
Yeah. Hey guys, so the Chargers they got breaking news. The Chargers got a new head coach. So the Chargers did get a new head coach in Brandon Staley, who is the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams. I'm pretty stoked about that, honestly. Like, I was talking to via our group text with our other friend Richard, who's our other Chargers fan. We were talking about this in the break room a couple days ago, about how the Chargers in the past three head coaches have been offensive guys. So it was funny how we were both speculating in the break room, like, man, what would happen if they just went with a defensive guy? Like, we've never seen that recently. So that'd be intense, right? And then I only mentioned, I think they only had interviewed, they had one, and they I think the candidates were going to be Robert Saleh or Brandon Staley. So I think Saleh, given that Saleh went to the New York Jets, I I kind of was like, oh, okay, well, we'll see what happens. But I wasn't expecting them to announce this tonight. Brandon Staley, new head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers.
They basically
pretty
settled,
excited
they
to see.
basically settled for scraps. They couldn't get premium Robert Saleh, so they're like, shit, who else is out there?
Not necessarily. Brandon Staley did bring in the number one defense of the NFL this season. So
remember, there's an asterisk on this season. Don't let us not forget. Okay, but yes,
no asterisks on any of these seasons. Stop it, Sonny.
Yeah.
So on top of us having like a mobile quarterback and now knowing what that's going to feel like as Chargers fans, we're going to have some sort of maybe some sort of Sean McVay-ish, genius type of thing happening where it's like some young head coach. And hopefully that's like a cool thing to have again. So, it's like, we'll see what happens.
Speaking from experience, it only happens for 1 year. That magic only lasts 1 year usually.
I don't know if that's a sell, the Sean McVay coaching tree. Technically, Sean McVay is technically a part of the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. If we're really keeping it, again, my new term for today's episode is a thou wow. If we're keeping it a buck,
God.
if we're keeping it 1,000, that's how it goes. Speaking of which, let me just put this button on, since now it's official, all of our team seasons are over.
Right.
The league better fucking hope that the Niners don't get their shit in order and go all in for one Deshaun Watson, who is out there.
Yeah.
And if we get that boy, I'm just saying, it's a wrap. If we get Deshaun Watson, I know Alex is praying that the Dolphins, that the Patriots, that anybody but the Niners ends up with Deshaun Watson. Because if you pair Deshaun Watson with Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and what would have been the number one defense if healthy, it's over. Bring the Chiefs back for the repeat, for the redo. Let's run it back, baby. But anyways, that's me still kind of dreaming, but it is. I mean, I think Vegas has us at 9-1 odds that we end up with Deshaun. We do have the draft picks.
Oh, okay.
And we do have the tradable quarterback in Jimmy G. So, we'll see. So much to look forward to this offseason.
That is a huge get out there for any team needing a quarterback right now. You know who else needs a quarterback? The Los Angeles Rams need a quarterback because everything is up. Everything is to be evaluated, as Coach McVay is saying, at the quarterback position. So, I mean, Goff may not be the starter next year. I'm like, are the Texans interested in Goff as a quarterback?
Yeah.
Doubtful, but
right.
Who would?
And you don't have the draft pick. So I'm not worried about the Rams as a threat at all for Deshaun Watson.
Save this tape for later.
First of all, Deshaun Watson has an Instagram photo floating out there of him wearing one Joe Montana jersey.
Wow. Okay.
And he even commented when Niners fandom put out that photo recently. He liked it. He hearted it. And he said, yeah, I'm with it. So I think that was one of his favorite teams growing up. So come home, baby. Come home.
Man, that would be huge. That would be huge. But once again, teams on paper sometimes don't translate on the field. I mean, we'll just talk about the NBA situation in a moment. And now there's a big paper team out there now, but we'll talk about that.
I don't know. Tom Brady's begging to differ right now.
Let's wrap up this NFL talk here because there's the final four now. So the Packers are in the NFC now. The battle of the old guys. It was being akin to Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson a lot on the internets there, and I thought it was really man, what a slugfest there. I believe Donald the Bot referred to it as a slobber knocker going into the fourth quarter. Shout out to good old JR.
Yeah,
and man, but then that fourth quarter happened, and it was all Tampa Bay. Man, can you believe it?
Man.
Before this game, what is it? Another breaking news story came out that this was going to be Drew Brees' last season, no matter the outcome of the playoffs. He was going to retire at the end of this year. So, I mean, I definitely had I was tuned in for it, seeing what Drew Brees had. Is he going to, have a little bit more to go across the finish line? But he fizzled out, man, with 3 picks in that game, man. If you go out, man, that's a tough way to go out, right? 30 to down, losing by 10, 3 picks. I mean, man. That's a rough one for your former lightning bolt charger there, Donald. Drew Brees.
Yeah. It is. It is. It's crazy seeing that though, right? Because I feel like with Drew Brees, it just felt like. I mean, I think a lot of people were asking why he wanted to come back another season, given that like it almost felt like the Saints should have already been moved on to something else just for the sake of the franchise. But he wanted to come back. He wanted to come back. His contract was already over last season, and then he just re-signed for 1 year because I guess he wanted to come back, and the franchise felt like why not? But it felt like the writing was on the wall prior to that season that he needed to be hanging it up soon. So it's crazy to see it that this was it, But
oh yeah,
he had a great career. He's a great career Hall of Famer.
Overrated,
so,
but great career.
We'll see.
Look. The reason why I say he's overrated is because a lot of those stats that he broke, they happen in a dome. Okay. So let's not pretend like it's apples to apples.
Asterisk Sunny and Monterey here. Putting an asterisk on everything, man. You have to break these stats on a field.
Here's the thing.
Open outdoor.
Here's the thing about sports fandom, right? Is that a lot of fans have revisionist history. Like you just look at the end result, right, without dissecting the game. Are we talking about practice, or are we talking? What are we talking about here? For those of us who have been paying attention and are avid fans, it's like you got to pay attention to the details.
Right? No, they matter. They matter. You're right.
The same way a player is overrated is the same way many fans underrate other players. And I think it's on us to kind of figure out. Wait a minute, now that person's getting not enough love, or that person's kind of getting too much love. It's somewhere in the middle, But those are just my thoughts on Drew Brees.
So most overrated Hall of Fame quarterback then?
No, I didn't say the most overrated Hall of Fame quarterback. I just say that the stats that now he's going in with, because he broke a few records, are inflated. You have to count for inflation for the fact that he was playing in a dome. With softer rules that protect the quarterback and what have you, So those are just my thoughts.
And then so that's the NFC matchup. It's pretty much set. NFC Championship game, Tampa Bay versus Green Bay. The AFC is really interesting with injuries to AFC quarterbacks, big quarterbacks here in Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, and so that cost them a trip to the AFC Championship game. Buffalo Bills Mafia going crazy up. They win 17-3. But then on the other side, you had the Chiefs taking care of the Cleveland Browns, which was a nail biter toward the end because why? Mahomes went down with concussion protocol there. Man, this AFC Championship game is going to be nuts between Bills Mafia and the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you like, Donald?
Oh man, I really like the Bills. I don't know why. They look like a lot of fun, and I'm really happy for them as a franchise, just given like how they've not been that great, So it's been really cool seeing that. Though, I mean, with this game with Cleveland, though, I kind of was hoping Cleveland would put up a bit of a fight, like really make it more of a nail biter. But overall, you can't count out Andy Reid, and that's really the difference maker is Andy Reid. And I know it's funny because you put that meme up on our group text, so it's kind of like, yep, that's the reason why I don't think they were even, going crazy when Mahomes went out. I think they kind of knew like, okay, we'll just figure it out, and they did. And that's just kind of the kind of team that Chiefs team is. Any
given Sunday.
Oh, baby. There it is. That was trending on Twitter too. The Andy Reid meme that I put up was the guy getting shot and saying, "Call the ambulance." But not for me. And he pulls out the gun, so. I mean, just when you thought the Chiefs were in danger, there, nope, they weren't. They had it all planned out.
They were in danger. They were in danger.
They were in danger, but once again, he pulled out the gun, holstered out of nowhere. The freaking, can we just say the guts on Andy Reid to call that play on 4th and 1?
Oh, yeah.
Just unbelievable. They go for the jugular to seal the game.
The Browns be Browning.
I mean, yeah, but that was a little bit. That was just how you're gonna protect
Browns
that?
Be Browning. You can't find a way to come back again. Are you kidding me? If we had knocked out Patrick Mahomes last year in the third quarter, we'd be Super Bowl champs right now.
Oh my God, get over it! It was last year, dude.
So this whole like the Browns blew it. The Browns. What more do you want? That's the only dude that could have beat you and was beating them. So that's why I'm kind of like, come on, man. Like, yeah, Andy Reid deserves some credit, but so does Chad Henne.
Oh yeah, in that play before the first down, man, just reaching almost just short of the first to clinch it was.
Exactly. I'm sure Andy Reid didn't draw that play. So it's like whoa, easy. Let's pump the brakes. And the Browns defense just got exposed. Again, I said this last week. This is what happens when you're not in the comfort of a divisional game.
Yeah.
You could get exposed, and
with Myles Garrett too, man. Like I felt like he was the big difference maker, but unfortunately, Myles Garrett wasn't 100% either. Like he had to be coming out at a couple of plays, then having to rejuvenate to be good for one play to help disrupt the downs. But I think if Myles Garrett was fully healthy, maybe it would have been a little bit more consistent. But yeah, it goes to show you that they were really needing Myles Garrett to carry the whole defense, and then like offensively, it just felt weird seeing Baker kind of they were kind of running out of ideas at some point. So I was kind of like, what's going on? And to me, it was like, dude, they have two great running backs in Hunt and Chubb, and they started using them in the third quarter. It's like, dude, you guys should be using them from the get-go. But I don't know. It felt crazy game planning that they had. I don't know.
I said this about the Chiefs, and I don't mean to knock them because they actually have my utmost respect as the team that beat my Niners in the Super Bowl. They were my pick to repeat this season, and they still are. I mean, so long as there's a healthy Mahomes that does hopefully play in the conference championship game. So yeah, that's still that team, man. They're going to be a tough out, and I don't see Bills Mafia knocking them out. Josh Allen didn't look great. They didn't look fantastic against the Ravens. And it wasn't until that costly pick by Lamar Jackson in the end zone that turned the game around. But the Ravens were knocking on the door, ready to tie that game 10-10. And so, and then of course Lamar went out with the concussion, and it was a wrap. But that's what great teams are supposed to do: take advantage or capitalize when the best player on the other team goes down. So I kind of licked my chops when Donald said he liked the Bills, because I feel like I have an opportunity now to actually make some money here. Once I find out the injury report on Mahomes.
That's going to be a side bet. That's going to be have to be made on the group chat, and we'll have to probably make it public on the West Box Score Twitter feed, so the audience is in on the bet between you two.
Oh, trust me, I'm still salty because I had a side bet out there with another buddy of mine, and I had laid 7 points to the Browns. And I had the Chiefs, and it was looking great with Mahomes on the field, and then he got injured and the game got tight, and I was like, no, I lost my cover. So, yeah, man.
Man. Championship Sunday coming up next week, so be sure to check that out. That's going to be exciting on Fox and CBS. So to the hardwood floor now, and the Lakers are on a 5-game winning streak, first place in all of the association. Is this team just biding its time till we put up the other chip, till we put up the other banner? Is that what's going on here? Is this all, or is that team in the East out of the Brooklyn borough gonna be dangerous for the purple and gold's chance at a repeat? You know who I'm talking about. Donald the Bot, give us the info on this Brooklyn Nets team.
I was gonna say, damn, you putting some respect on the Knicks there.
Wow.
So the Brooklyn Nets, man, they look good now. Obviously, I think they were already good to begin with. Obviously, they just added a little bit more to it. We still don't know yet everything in terms of like the Kyrie situation. I'm trying to figure that out still, like what that means for that team. Like, hopefully it doesn't bite them in the ass come playoffs. But yeah, I mean, they look good. I know what's his name, James Harden put up a triple-double with 32 points. So obviously now they look like very threatening. They look like the team that's going to be the favorite out of the East. But I'm not scared for the Lakers. I think the Lakers have, the weapons to take any team on. And I think they have I think by the time come playoffs, they'll figure out the rotation already. So it's just a battle of who's going to want it more, really. So I'm not stressing it for the Lakers at all. I think that they look very impressive in the West. And I know it's kind of tough to see when your team's like the best one, because it just at some point you do feel very like, okay, like can we just get to the playoffs? Because that's kind of what we all care about at this point. But man, I am excited to seeing what happens with the East and how that's going to shape out. Is Brooklyn really going to stand out? Are they really going to come out of it, or are they going to be like the Milwaukee Bucks and just kind of fall flat at some, second round series or whatever? But we'll see. I mean, out of all those guys that are there, I mean, which I don't really know outside of Joe Harris and and DeAndre Jordan, I don't really know who else Brooklyn has for like an 8-man rotation come playoff time. So that's my question, really. I know they look good right now in the regular season when you're playing against Charlotte or whatever, but like come playoffs, you're playing against teams that are really good. So I don't know who the rotation is, and I don't even know how deep that team is.
They're not as deep.
I mean, I know I sound like a hater.
They're not as deep anymore.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know come playoffs, like who their 8 guys are going to be that are going to be the ones that are going to carry the team all the way through. So, I mean, they could just be like the Bucks and fall flat at some point. So I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Sonny, what are your thoughts on this Brooklyn Nets team that's revamped and ready to challenge the throne of the Lakers?
You mean the Brooklyn Nets team that we created? Because what we did to undress the Houston Rockets that night, LeBron shooting threes and turning around before they even go in, and the bench getting hyped, that literally was the catalyst for the next, that's it, tonight, we're trading James Harden. The Lakers literally created this quote-unquote super team now in Brooklyn just by beating the brakes off of the Houston Rockets and putting them out of their misery, essentially. I'm not frightened. I'm intrigued by this Brooklyn team because I think it's one huge science experiment. It's a chemistry experiment. Excuse me. So we'll see, man. I mean, like Donald said, if and when Kyrie shows up, we know he can be, I don't know if volatile is the word, but inconsistent, checked in and checked out. So how he's going to mesh. I love the analogy that a lot of the top, sports commentators or analysts were using right after the trade happened about Kyrie, where, the belief was always he wanted to go out and be a Batman. He was always the Robin to LeBron in that case, and he wanted to be his own man, his own Batman. And now he's freaking Alfred.
Yeah.
Because Batman and Robin are Durant and Harden now. So Kyrie is now relegated to the third best player on his squad. So we'll see if he accepts that. I would say he's at least
role. Commissioner Gordon. Come on, give him a little bit more
That was
respect.
part of the initial analogy that was used too. Some people said Alfred, some people said Commissioner Gordon. To me, he's more like Bane right now. Dude, crazy.
Yeah.
He's more like a villain on his own team.
Damn.
So I'm intrigued. I think it's good for the league. I think it's good for the Lakers. Hopefully they do run into that team in the finals because I love LeBron KD matchups. I still don't think that threesome compares or can stack up with the LeBron AD combo, plus the depth that we have. I mean, we almost have our own little, super big three with the way Schroeder's playing right now. He's kind of doing what would be expected, hopefully, of Kyrie to put up those kind of numbers in support of your top 2 superstars. So I relish that opportunity to face that team if they do happen to make it, like Donald said. I'm still not counting out the Celtics or the Bucks, but I think I prefer this. I think I still like the Celtics to get past everybody in the East. But health is also a big issue. So we'll see when the chips where they may fall, come the end of the season and how everybody is stacked up. So we'll see. But I love how the Lakers are playing right now.
Their chemistry. Speaking to chemistry real quick, this Laker team's having fun out there on the court, and you can see it in just the whole LeBron turnaround jump 3 there, where he takes the shot, looks at the bench, doesn't even look at the shot.
Bet. He said bet.
That just shows you how much they're having fun out there, and it's just making it fun to get to the playoffs, as Donald, you were speaking to. Yeah, we're all just waiting for the next playoffs to start because the season's already going to be shortened anyway. So it's kind of like this prolonged, shortened season to get to the playoffs. So it's like, but they're playing so well that little mini marathon here of a season is going by a lot of fun as to watch as a Laker fan, because this team is having fun. So it's just getting you more excited for the playoffs. All right, when do these games really matter? Even though all these games do matter because they're big, they're such a short season, so they do. So it just matchups now. When is the next big matchup? So it's like Golden State, tonight as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it on MLK Day in the middle of the day here. Like, how are the Warriors aren't the super team anymore. They got so many injuries now, but you still want to see what they look like against Steph Curry on the court. Like, just like what players are next. And then you got the Bucks later on this week. So, I mean, that's matchups you want to see now with this Laker team. And of course, the Holy Grail matchup when it really matters, though, against the Nets. So, I mean, this Laker team is exciting to watch, man. So we're just enjoying this, right, guys?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And speaking of team chemistry, our own podcast partner here, Sonny Amato, needs to go tag out to go do some Fox Crate podcast assignment.
That's right. As much as I love to stick around and keep the banter going, especially as I think y'all are going to get into what was Dejavu for the Kings. Oh my God.
We got to talk fantasy hockey and the LA Kings, which you're a part of, but we'll talk about it next time.
Which I'm kind of glad I'm not here to talk about because I lost my first week as predicted. But I will say my last thought here before I dip out for the evening. I did think of nicknames. We already have that we got to put on shirts now for the West Box Score. We already have Donald the Bot, and in light of today's game that was happening this morning, there was a very important Supercopa game that was happening between Barcelona and Athletic Bilbao. And as soon as Alex tuned in, Barcelona lost essentially. So I feel like we got to be like Alex the Jinx.
Okay.
Because you've talked about plenty of times on this podcast how you tend to have that quality with certain teams.
Look at you're right. But the Lakers and Dodgers both won championships. So did I reverse the curse?
But you self-admitted you're not as big of a Lakers fan.
Then
but with the Dodgers, you reversed the psychology. Because you were shit talking them so much. Saying it was a wrap, it was over, that I think that kind of combated the other. And then I was saying my nickname could be up for debate, but one of the ones that I thought, because Alex has sometimes affectionately referred to me as a heel, it's Sonny the Heel.
Hermano. It might be asterisk Sonny Hermano at this point, man. We have to put the asterisk on your first name now.
I'll let the listeners decide. But anyways, thanks again,
Alex
fellas.
the Jinx is fit sometimes, especially with Barca and my football team. So yes, that might be right. There you go.
So I like the ring of all three of those: Sonny the Heel, Donald the Bot, Alex the Jinx. Welcome to the West Box Score.
Welcome to West Box Score. Sonny Amato, man, thanks a lot for joining us again this week. We'll talk to you next week, dude.
For sure. Peace.
Later, man.
So as we were talking with Sonny before he dipped, fantasy hockey got started, but it got started because the LA Kings are back on the ice for the first time in 10 months. The NHL is obviously underway, and the Kings haven't played in 10 months because they didn't go last year to the playoff bubble. And man, did they pick up right where they left off. As Kings fans here, man, it's going to be a rough one. And game 1 against Minnesota and game 2 against Minnesota, the season's going to look crazy, man. It's going to be a lot of these back-to-back games of hosting a team for back-to-back games and then traveling for back-to-back games, if not traveling close distance between two cities. Very similar to what the NBA is doing, so it makes total sense, right? Cut down travel. But, I mean, when you're up 3-1 going into a third period, you think, all right, we got this, guys. Just hunker down defensively. We got this. Don't you worry. And give up one. Okay, no sweat. Let's just hunker down more defensively. Let's get one back. But when you give up a game-tying goal and you get to overtime, there's something about the momentum. Yeah. It just does. Sometimes it just swings, and of course you lose in overtime. And that hurts, man, because you let a point get away. You let 2 points get away, and more devastatingly enough, you let that team that you should have taken 2 points to nothing get your 2 points, and essentially it's bad. But when you do it 2 games in a row, the exact same way, 3-1, 3-1 going into the third period, losing in overtime, it just there's a special suck you got to have on your team to make that happen. And the Kings are special that way. I mean, Donald, you watch these games along too. What were some of your takeaways from this Los Angeles Kings first two games?
And it's funny that we're talking. Well, obviously we're talking about both games because both had the same exact result. It almost felt like we were watching yesterday's game. Felt to me like I was watching it again all over again on Thursday. Like I chose to watch the same game all over again, but I don't know why.
Right.
But you know what? Like it was crazy because when you're up 3-1, like you should be able to take care of it, especially the second time around. It's one thing if the first time they crept up on you, you weren't expecting Minnesota to come back the way they did. But then when you're doing it again, it's just really bad. I don't know what to make of it. Like yesterday's game was 2-3, and they made their goal in the last 3 seconds before the period ended. Like it just felt like 3 seconds. That's all you needed was 3 seconds of just stopping them. But it's crazy. All I can say is that come third period, this team just looks like they're pretty much running on fumes defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And Dowdy and all them just somehow are not really there for Quick, and poor Quick just has to do what he can to save as many pucks as he can, and Minnesota was taking a gang of shots in the third period, man. It just felt like, I don't know what happened with the Kings. It's almost like they don't have enough in the tank left. So, man, this is going to be hard to watch for the season,
I'll say this. You know who does look good in the first two periods is Jeff Carter, and we got to give him special shout out because he's an older guy, man. I think he's all of 36 years old.
Yeah,
and he's skating out there. He's still flying up the ice, man, as much as he can. There's a lot of good young guys out there. In Austin Wagner looked good. Of course, Alex Iafallo looked good. Yes. Happy to see you. Happy to see you. I started calling him Andreas. Happy to see you. It's happy to see you. He's a Greek guy. It's just, man, this team, it's hard because they're gonna frustrate us so much this year, man. And you'll see this Kings fans because they're gonna show glimmers of oh man, this team could have something here, but then they're gonna just let it get away. And I don't know, man. Who do you blame? Do you blame the coaching? Do you blame the inexperience? A lot of that, when you have inexperience, you rely on the coaching to get you over that hump. So, as I watch the new head coach, Tom McCullen, he's been there. This is his second year now with the team. It's I still see him as a San Jose Sharks coach, man. It's hard. I try to put that bias aside, but we were in such a bitter playoff series with him in 2014 that I just cannot not see him behind the San Jose Sharks bench. And I just try to man, get these guys on the right path, man. We need you. We need you to tell them something. Get inside their head. Tell them what they need to do right. And it's not clicking yet. It's 2 games in. It's a 56 game season. Let's go on a 54 game winning streak, right? That's possible. That's possible.
54 too.
It's not, but come on. But it's just get a win at this point. Get it under your belt. But
I know, man.
They got Colorado coming in next, though. And they're a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah.
This division is tough, man.
It is.
Colorado, Minnesota, as we've played, St. Louis. I think that they kept alluding to the fact that we're going to play Anaheim 5 times over the span of 10 days at the mid-March, early April. So I'm looking forward to that because it's a rivalry game and it's of course the freeway face-off. It's the best. But Donald, are you ready to really? We already earned our King straps. We're really going to earn our Kings fandom this year, huh?
Yeah, no, exactly. We're going to earn all these 3-1 leads, then see them blow it. So. Oh man, that's the thing that got to me, man. These 2 games is that you're up 3-1, man. Just take care of them, and that's all you got to do. And if you're not gonna score anymore, which you should at least, if you scored 1 more, everything changes. But I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I'm probably gonna be frustrated via text messages about this whole thing. Why are they up 3-0 and then blow it at the end? It's kind of weird. My thing is this, they have no issue scoring. Obviously, they know how to play offense. They get the puck in. I just don't get how they blow it, But I don't know. Maybe it's just these 2 games. Hopefully, it's just these 2 games, and maybe after this, it'll it won't be the same, So
yeah, we're all doom and gloom off a 2-game sample size,
Yeah,
right? But it's just, man, there's something about blowing 2-goal leads in the third period that's just it feels like a 2-game loss at that point, because it's a 4-point swing.
Yeah.
It's you taking 2 points and letting the other team get 0. And these are all divisional games now. So all these games matter. They're super heightened because they're all within the division. And only 4 teams from that division are going to go to the playoffs. So you need as many points as you can, and you have to avoid the other team getting points. You can't give away points like this. Not even just going to overtime and giving away that point, but losing in the overtime. Oh, that's even more heartbreaking.
Yeah, man.
But at least we got our fantasy teams to do well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how did your fantasy team do?
I think mine's, I don't know. I have to figure out the scoring thing. I don't know how to fully make out the scoring, but I want to say I'm doing good. I don't know. I'm 7-1-2. And the guy I'm playing is 1-7-2. And
that's what happens when you have a first-time commissioner running this league, But I think what those 10 points are on the board, it's the scoring system of goals, assists, points, and power play points, all the different variables of stats. And it goes based on whoever won the matchup gets the W, and whatever your record is for that week, it just carries over into the next matchup.
Yeah.
That's what it would seem like.
Yeah, the one thing I did know right away was I have the New York Rangers as goalie, and New York Rangers lost 4-0. So I knew that was really bad for me. I do have Tampa Bay's goalie, so maybe I'm hoping they make up for something.
Yeah.
I know we started the day after Tampa Bay had won like 4-1 or something like that, so that would have been really good for me. But yeah, when I saw the Rangers lose 4-0, I was like, oh man, my goalie got it. Like I probably didn't get anything off that. So yeah, man. We'll see how this goes with fantasy.
Yeah, second
but
best goalie of the league, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's like I'm trying to make out what this fantasy, how to line up my guys in the best position to win. So hopefully I at least get something out of it. But I know I'll figure out the scoring for sure.
And I love that you beat the commissioner of our league in the first week. So that's just showing you the guy in charge of it doesn't know at all what he's doing. And he's just leading us all into uncharted waters here. And we're just along for the ride. And I mean, let's have fun. I mean, the Kings are going to be rough to watch. I mean, as it stands, because I knew I was going to be mainly watching Kings games, I ended up picking more Kings players than what I should have. So, I mean, like, oh yeah, sure, let me pick up, like, the first pickup I did was Alex Iafallo. I'm like, okay, because I know him and I know he does really well, especially on the top line. But it's just like, I also saw Jeff Carter out there. I'm like, okay, Jeff Carter puts up numbers, and I'm hoping he puts up, he is reborn, which he's looked good so far. But of course, that first game on Thursday night, I have him on my bench. So I did not, get the full effect of Jeff Carter's, glory on the first game. But then I went and picked up Blake Lizotte and also Austin Wagner, who are good forwards. I'm like, I'm just trying to get anything. Notice I don't have any Kings defenders. There's a reason for that. When you blow a 2-goal lead in the third period, there's a reason you don't have Kings defenders on your fantasy team, eh, Donald?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. I don't have any Kings players, really, because I just went based off the ranking. Every time my turn came up, I was like, whatever the highest ranked is, guy, and that's who I'm taking. And I think it's going to pay off for me really well. Usually with fantasy football, it's not the case. I do my whole research thing. I try to beat, whatever their system rankings are and be like, no, you guys don't know, like this guy's hot or whatever. Nice. But then I end up not winning those leagues at all. So I'm hoping this one will be the opposite. I just keep my mouth shut and just trust ESPN fantasies, their analysis and all those research data that they do on ESPN fantasy. And hopefully it comes through for me because I'm really relying on it.
I don't know, man. I'm actually worried now with the ESPN analysis along with the Donald the Bot numbers crunch, man. That might be the winning combination here. I think we might have the freaking fantasy hockey league champion right here. Donald the Bot, man. I'm rooting for you into the week we play against each other. And then I hope you lose. Then I'm coming for you, man. I'm coming for blood.
Oh, man.
Blood on the ice.
I do like your team name though.
Oh yes, by the Dowdy Deeds done dirt cheap. A little shout out to AC/DC and Drew Dowdy. Notice I love during the draft itself as we're drafting. I saw our boy Sonny post up that draft pick was for Alex, and I looked like, who did he pick? I'm like, oh, he picked Drew Dowdy, thinking that I was gonna pick Drew Dowdy just to have him on my team named after him. He was never on my radar. I'm going to tell you the truth. Never on my radar. Because Drew Dowdy does a lot of the things that are intangibles that don't really show up stats-wise. Yeah. Even though like he got an assist. I mean, that shot from the point was deflected in on a goal. But it's just he does those little intangibles of cutting off the guy who's running a good route to the net. So, I mean, those are really unsung stats. I mean, those are like those deep stats, for the hardcore analytics. So they don't show up on the fantasy stats. And also, a lot of times he plays with his heart too much, and those tend to hurt his vital stats for fantasy hockey. So man, that's just poor Dowdy, man. He gets a lot of flack for being older, which he's not really older. He's just too emotional out there on the ice sometimes, and he tries to do too much. So I mean, I hope he could get in the right mindset to help the Kings. Control the emotions a little bit more. It's only going to help the team overall, which. That turnover in overtime was the Drew Dowdy turnover. Yeah. So, I mean, he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, man.
A lot of work to do this year, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't sleep on these guys, man. You got to really be on it, especially come overtime. Oh, man. Fun times, man. Donald, always fun times talking to you. Thanks for listening. Follow Donald and I on Twitter and Instagram at WestBoxScore. Be sure to follow Sonny and Amato's podcast, the Fox Crate Podcast on Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts downloaded. And follow him on Instagram at the Fox Crate. Donald, good times, man. Good to talk to you. Talk to you again next week. See ya. Later.